Hi, and welcome to Carolina Varsity's Week 7 Best of Last. I'm Dale Ross.
And I'm Matt Morrow, the Pep Man. And I'm going to start with my top 5. And the only change that I made this week was I moved Butler up over Vance. And that was really more of a feel thing. Just thinking about the changes Butler made offensively, I think are going to suit them well. And Vance, they did suffer an injury. Their starting tight end / receiver Trey Foggy had an ankle injury. That may hurt them just a little bit. And it's so close that it's a slight movement. That's why I made that change. But my top 3 are the same: Mallard Creek, Hough, West Meck. Hough is a close call over West Meck, and Butler's close over Vance.
Yeah, my top 5 stayed identical as they were last week. Mallard Creek, Hough, West Meck, Vance, and Butler.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that especially Hough, West Meck, Vance, and Butler are real close to each other.
Yes.
And, some injuries here or there is going to make, so far West Meck's, Hough adding the receiver you mentioned last week, is maybe going to make them a little bit tougher. I think Mallard Creek losing quarterback, we just got to see how that works out.
The gap a little.
Exactly. And Butler, I agree. I want to see them play somebody other than Garinger and East Meck, to see if these changes are for real. I watched the Richmond game, and I don't want to take anything away from Butler, but Richmond just didn't really look like a Richmond team. So, I think it's a good thing that Butler won and Ratliff did a lot for them. But I really want to see them play, someone else before I can bump them above Vance. But that's real close. That one's real close.
Exactly. 6 through 10. Independence, I got slightly over Olympic. I think they made some improvements. Obviously, now playing East Meck, doesn't really tell us too much. But I think it's just more like I said, it's more of a feel thing there. Independence over Olympics close. Rocky River, I move up a couple spots. I was impressed with their progress offensively, and they're still a very strong defensive team. Catholic, I have at number 9. And then Porter Ridge, I include them because now we're in the conference play.
Right.
And I think they're right there at number 10 over Providence because they, defeated them head to head.
Right.
But, it's real close between Rocky River and Catholic also. So I think we've got that top 5 tier, and then Independence is on the edge, and then you've got that second group there. And I think Rocky River is moving up in that second group, and there's going to be one to watch.
Right. We have the same 6 through 10, and really I think the Independence Olympic and Rocky River are real close to each other. And Rocky River made a big jump this week because they finally produced on the field on offense like we've kind of been looking for them to.
Right.
They leapfrogged Charlotte Catholic, and it's really I'm still questioning Catholic with their 2 and 4 back situation. I haven't seen anything big out of that yet. And, they're still apparently not at full strength on the offensive line. So I think mainly not because of the offensive line, because quite honestly, when I watched them and they weren't at full strength against Mallard Creek, line really wasn't their problem because their kids execute.
Right.
Even their JV kids execute. So. And they weren't beasted, off the ball. I felt really it was more that 2-4 back situation, not being able to run those other plays, including Porter Ridge this week. That's going to be an interesting to watch. They're going to be real interesting to watch with the rest of these teams. They play Independence this week, so
big game there.
They have an opportunity to step up. But like you, I got them over Providence because, but I think this whole group's real close.
Yeah, that next group, 11 through 15, I got Providence, Ardrey Kell, A.L. Brown sliding them in at 13 there, Myers Park at 14, and then North Meck at 15. I think Providence and Ardrey Kell have a very similar issues, and that's offensive execution. Ardrey Kell had some issues with that, against West Meck, and then in your game, they obviously had issues with the read option at times. A.L. Brown, young team, they did defeat North Mac. It seemed like they're starting to come together a little bit. They're going to be one to watch when they play Vance this upcoming week. Myers Park, I still kind of got them in the same spot. North Mac, you know, they're still kind of down there also. Both teams with potential, but issues at the same time.
Yeah, same here. You know, Providence is the team that maybe not quite as much of a dark horse as I had them last week, because they would have needed to be the Olympic, I think. But they still are going to be in the mix in the conference. I think that read option, if they get that worked out, or they get just their kinks in offense and the team in general worked out, it looks more like it's just understanding the schemes and executing is their problem. I put A.O. Brown at next. I think what they did this last week was pretty impressive, especially defensively.
Right.
Granted, it was North Mecklenburg, but still, I thought that was going to be a close ball game. It turned out not to be. You know, we differ there, and I have Ardrey Kell next. You know, I think Ardrey Kell is one of those teams that still is, I don't know if looking for themselves is the right word, but I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're still a good team, and I think they're a team in their conference that everyone has to come to play.
Right.
If you don't come to play, these guys can beat you. Myers Park, I've got them next, and the only reason I've got them next is I think there's a big drop starting at that next tier down. There's kind of a big gap there. Myers Park, big question, of course, is Coach Stein.
Yeah.
And then I put Berry over North Mecklenburg, and to be honest with you, Berry, North Meck, and South Meck is real tough, and you know, when we talk about previews, I might surprise you on who I'm going to pick in a game, but I put Berry at 15.
Yeah, in terms of that last tier, for me, I think the team watches South Mecklenburg. Them putting up 48 on Harding. Now, Harding is not a great team, but, you know, South Meck, like we said, they've been struggling offensively, and for them to come together like that after a bye week, it's a good sign. They're still progressing and doing well. Last part for me, Hopewell, Harding, Robinson, East Meck, West Charlotte, Garinger.
Yeah.
Hopewell apparently improved a little bit on run defense. Harding, you know, they got that big loss, see how they recover from that. And then the last four, they're just, you know, teams that are down and struggling right now. Robinson, you know, maybe they get better under their new coach as the season goes along, but, you know, otherwise it's pretty much the same old story for the last of those guys.
Exactly. For the rest of the teams, for me, I had North Mac right there, but South Mac, I think, has a good potential to move up. They're probably the most improving team out of the rest of the bunch, and probably have the most opportunity for improvement. You know, Hopewell, Harding, I think, are a little bit above the Final Four.
Yeah.
And you know, West Charlotte and Robinson get to play each other, and East Meck and Garinger get to play each other to kind of settle themselves out there. But I really, you know, they're struggling. That's that's just the the situation you're in, that position. So it's really it.
Yeah. As we said before we started, this is kind of beginning to settle in. We don't have as much movement now. We're starting to find out where teams are, what kind of tiers they're in. So, you know, the best of last is not going to probably change that much unless we get some upsets here, which, you know, could happen.
Exactly. And I'll just throw out Hokies computer-generated rankings. I don't know if you want to hear the top 10 or the top 5. The top 5 are Mallard Creek, Butler, West Meck, Olympic, and Indy.
That's interesting.
Followed by Hough, Vance, Porter Ridge, Catholic, and Rocky River. So probably those are the top 10, maybe not in that order that we've got, but it's very similar to what we have as far as who's in the top 10. And I think we probably all agree that after Mallard Creek, you know, some of these are any given night. Some of these things can be. It's not like a Garinger's going to need a special night to beat Butler. The moon and stars and everything's got to be in alignment, but you know, Porter Ridge could, you know, come to play, and Butler not be quite come to play, and Porter Ridge win that game. So that's it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.